But now we are going into the breaking news. And this was expected, but the Seattle Mariners had just decided that they will not be extending their qualifying offer for Teoscar Hernandez, and it was going to be valued at around the $20 million, and it was expected. Like we all expected it from day one trade that it was going to be a 1-year rental. And that to considering that he has great power, but he does strike out way too much, it was really no surprise. And I just didn't. And I think that whole strikeout count really does play a factor on why they would not extend that qualifying offer. And even if he was even better than what we saw, I think they still would have done the same thing anyway. What was your thoughts on Teoscar not being offered the qualifying offer?
Yeah, definitely not surprised by it. You said we kind of figured that was going to happen. The only downside is that, like, you could make the case they should have done it. Teo declines it, hits free agency. You get the draft pick compensation. Now, draft pick compensation in baseball isn't the same as football, where you're getting that pick next year and you're getting a guy right into the show. So I'm not going to dwell on it too much. I mean, you could make a case they should have at least offered it. But the downside is, I'll be honest, I don't really want Teoscar back on the team. You mentioned a few things. Also, just the power's legit. I'm not sure if it plays well in this ballpark. So I think at the end of the day, I do think there's a chance he may have accepted. People are saying there's no way. I don't think it's crazy that he may have been like, listen, I'll take the 1-year deal. It's $20 million. That's more than I'm going to get in the open market per year. I gained some of my value back with a better season. Not sure if that would have happened in Seattle with the ballpark, but I'm okay with it. I'm not going to stand and say, oh, perfect deal, they shouldn't have done it, but I get why they didn't offer it. I'm not going to lose too much sleep over not doing that one. I didn't really want Teoscar back anyways, so if he would have accepted, it would have been and then, is what it is. So I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I mean, those are good points, and some of my points on Teoscar Hernandez was this, where there were some times I saw him on defense where it was like, why did you bobble that? Why did you make that error? And I remember against that Houston game, he not only let the ball drop, which is one thing. I was like, yeah, he still should have hustled and caught it, but he let it go past him. And that was a part of Houston just completely just annihilating the Mariners. And that was the same game where it was Hector Nardes and Julio Rodriguez going at it. And then the inning later, that was where Teoscar go, oopsie. And yeah, the strikeout count was very concerning. He couldn't really get it done in the big games. Didn't really seem to be a playoff guy either, because I looked at his numbers in the playoffs and I was not impressed either. But here's my thing. If the Mariners are going to get rid of Teoscar Hernandez, fine. But here's the thing. They better come up with a plan to actually replace him. Find something better, because I will not be content with our outfield being Jared Kelenic, which I do like, Julio Rodriguez, and also having Dominic Canzone and like Cade Marlowe in right field. I'm not really sure about that. I don't think I'd want to go into 2024 with those two. Now, there are upside on both of them. Canzone is still a high-level prospect. Cade Marlowe showed some things that he could do in case of injuries, but I'm not willing to start the season with those two alone. I mean, because Canzone, he's still kind of raw. And I know there's players that they get it right the first time, but not every players are like that. Everyone's different. So I think they should go out and find someone, and we'll talk about that later about that, because if we go into it with no Teoscar Hernandez and no replacement, we would have traded Eric Swanson for absolutely nothing, which would be another source of embarrassment of this management. And I think that's all we can touch on about the Teoscar no qualifying offer. And speak of qualifying offer, the Angels extended theirs for Shohei Ohtani, which is also around $20 million, which honestly, I think we can all agree that the Angels only did that just because they know Shohei's gone, so they might as well get that compensatory pick, which I would imagine would be a pretty decent one.
Yeah.